And there was a moment where I was playing defense against Cade, and he went to the hole, and I got elbowed in the face, like the first possession.
Flagrant elbow.
So that was, a welcome to NBA moment.
What's up, Piston fans? It's your boy Flagrant Elbow back with another one. This time in the series, what they think about us. We're going to look at what the Utah Jazz community has to say about the Detroit Pistons, and also a reunion of sorts with Bojan going back to Utah and what his ex-players, one of his ex-players had to say about him. So anyway, don't forget to check out the link in the description for the merchandise. Merchandise helps support the channel. Anything sold or purchased, I will receive a commission on. But once again, thank you all. We're at 629, I think, subscribers. Thank you all for your continued support. Leave in the comments how you feel about this series, of what they think about us, and also what they thought about the Pistons and Bojan also as well. So let's go ahead and get into the video. We're going to start it off with an article from the Salt Lake Tribune. This article is by Eric Walden. Very good article on Bojan Bogdanovic. They called him mysterious. That was a word used by his teammates to describe him when asked about Bojan and with his return to being back with his ex-Jazz players from when he played there before. So they called him mysterious, and there's some of the points from the video was saying that he was just a very mysterious guy. Conley shared a funny story with him about a handshake ritual. They both got to the team around the same time, and Conley said, "Hey, since we're the new guys, we got to come up with a handshake or something." He says, "I didn't know at the time that he really doesn't get down like that." So he just complied, and we made a quick one. So they made a quick handshake, but he was like, he didn't know that Bojan, he don't do stuff like that. He got to know it as he became a teammate of his. But Bojan, man, being a good sport, he complied with it, man. They came up with a handshake. And what was nice, man, that at the game, when the Pistons returned to Utah, Bojan went over to Conley and they both did their handshake. A little backhand, a little dap move, backhand, and a hug. And that was cool, man, to see Bojan, doing that and building up that camaraderie that he had with Conley and his other players that he knew from the team when he was there. So we got a good, solid dude. But the funny thing about it is that they say he's mysterious. They one of the guys was bringing it out, I think it might have been Conley, was saying that Bojan's favorite thing to do, he's so focused and locked in and reserved and private, that one of his favorite activities, Bojan's favorite activity, is going out to eat at restaurants. And I was like, oh, that ain't bad. But then I didn't look at the last word. It said alone. So Bojan's favorite activity was going out to eat alone. And I can understand and relate. I don't mind working alone. I don't mind being left alone. I'm kind of reserved like that too. I do like people though. Don't get me wrong, but I'm okay with being alone. So it was just funny to notice that's how people looked at Bojan while he was there. And Clarkson said, he says, I feel like none of the guys really know him. He said he's so mysterious. He said he could be a Fortune 500. He could have 40 Fortune 500 companies, and nobody would know it. He could have 80 food chain companies that's big time, and nobody would know it. He said sometimes he comes in with a duffel bag and nobody knows what's in it. They don't know if cash is in it or what's in it. But they just said he was just really reserved. But they did say they know that he's a boss and he can get it done. Clarkson brought that out. That they always knew they could count on him to hit a game-winning three, a big-time three, a timely three, or he could get to the basket at any time in the game. And we see that as Piston fans, don't we? Bojan does his thing. Bojan does his thing. He's been one of the most consistent players on this Piston team as of late. So those are some good things, interesting and funny things that they mentioned about Bojan. They said it was like he might have an off night and only get 18 points. He said, but you never like, man, Bogey just played terrible tonight. He said, you never get that out of Bogey. And he always brought it to the table, and they always knew that they could count on it. And then he said it was just dope being able to play with him. So we see that, man. Bojan is that guy. And I'm serious. We don't have to trade him. If the price is not right, I mean, you could ask for a whole new team if you trade Bojan. I don't really want to trade him. I would rather keep him. He's solid. He's solid. I just want to get to the point to where we're not working him to death. But he's solid, and you always know what you're going to get from Bojan. You could chalk off 20 points automatically from Bojan. We know we're going to get 20 from him. Let's see what we can get out the other guy so we can get 120 points a night. You know that. You know you don't have to work hard to give Bojan or make a play for him. He can get it himself. He could get it himself, man. So I just like Bojan. I'm glad he's here to Detroit with Detroit Pistons, and hopefully he stays for a long time. So also looking at an article, the Pistons, the coach, Will Hardy, the Utah Jazz coach, he brought out some things, and in his comments, they kind of gave credit to the Pistons too. One of them, he said they came out hungry, aggressive, and physical from the very beginning, and we did not. Did you guys hear that? The Utah Jazz, this is what they think about us. This series I'm doing on a few teams in their comments and what they had to say about us, the Detroit Pistons. He said, credit to the Pistons, they came out hungry, aggressive, physical from the very beginning, and we did not. Isn't that what we've been wanting from the Pistons? To come out hungry with that fire, with that defensive intensity. Utah Jazz, one of the top teams in the West. We just knocked them down after a back-to-back game against Denver. So he said, as a team, we've got to get to the point. We've got to get to this point by playing with a chip on our shoulder. And I don't think that we had that chip in the first half. So he recognized that the Pistons looked like they were playing with the chip on their shoulder. And when you have defensive intensity, you can play with a chip on your shoulder every game. Every game, regardless of if your shot's going to fall or not. You come in there with defensive intensity, and it'll always keep you in the game. That scrappiness, that grit, that's what represents the restore in my eyes, and hopefully the identity that this young Piston team will get. It's just being a scrappy team. They can get you at any night. He was Will Hardy, their Utah Jazz coach, was dissatisfied with the team's performance in transition versus Detroit, their lack of physicality and intensity on the boards. Detroit did a good job. Detroit did a good job on those boards against the Jazz, and just keeping them from blowing us out from the rebounds. But our rebounding kept us in the game. Credit Marvin Bagley, credit Jalen Duren, and credit the other guards. The whole team was involved getting rebounds. Nobody got double digit, but the whole team was getting rebounds for the team. And you have to do that, and that's something that he was saying he wanted his team to do, was to get those rebounds. In fact, he was saying that something they had to address as a collective effort. Those things are hard to do, but they really take attention because the league is going that way. A lot of teams are playing smaller and faster, and if you shoot the ball and just stare, you're going to get out rebounded. So the Pistons, we had Duren out there, we had Bagley, but we have a fast team, and we should be able to use that speed against any team. Defensive intensity plus that speed, getting those points in transition, that can lead to a lot of points for the Pistons easily if they continue to keep their intensity and physicality high. So that's one thing I wanted to share with you guys from this series with the Utah Jazz on what they think about us. Good article, once again, about Bojan. Article is entitled, again, Mysterious Bojan Bogdanovic becomes the first of the traded ex-Jazz players to make his Utah return. This article is from the Salt Lake Tribune, and the writer of it, about Bojan, the writer of it was Eric Walden. So everybody, just wanted to share that with you guys, part of this series. Hope you like it. Let me know how you like the series too. It's kind of interesting. It always has been interesting for me to hear what other teams and other communities are saying about the Pistons, not necessarily the fans, but the other coaches, other players. And it's always good when you know that your team is getting respected around the league. So that's all I have for you. Once again, don't forget to check the link, merch link, which is in the description. Thanks for subscribers, 629, I believe, at this point. I thank you all for your continued support. Leave in the comments how you feel about it and how you feel about the win, how you feel about Bojan, and how you feel about our defensive intensity so far this season, the improvements that have been made. So with that being said, everybody, Stay safe.